Michael, we're really glad you're here because we also want to talk about some of the latest out of Minnesota and the reporting that's come out that there's an internal DHS ICE memo that's going around suggesting that agents can enter a home, that they don't need a judicial warrant, but rather an administrative warrant is sufficient. I've never believed that to be the case. Let us know what you know of this about and this memo.
So I don't know a lot about it other than what's been reported, but that's like certainly something where obviously it's going to end up before a judge. I mean, that's like, you don't need to be a legal beagle to know that and figure that out. And it speaks to sort of how a lot of this has played out, which is that these judges have really become part of the process and a bulwark and standing up to the government in a way that certainly continues to be an impediment for them. Because whatever they say in this memo, I'm sure they're going to have to make that argument before a judge, and that there's going to be a lot of judges that are going to look at it skeptically.
Senator, it was you and your office who received from a whistleblower this memo. So tell us more about it and what the next steps could be. How are you using it?
This memo is profoundly important, Jonathan, because Americans should be really afraid that the top officials of our United States government, and this memo was written by Todd Lyons, the acting director of ICE. Michael is absolutely right. We are at a very unique and perilous moment in our democracy because ICE and the Secretary of Homeland Security have adopted a policy that authorizes agents to break down your door and roam through your house, terrifying your children, arresting or detaining you, even when you're a United States citizen, in a way that is absolutely abhorrent, morally and politically and legally. And so the question is, will Americans tolerate this kind of lawlessness at the highest levels of government? Maybe it will go before a judge at some point, but the judge's approval of a warrant is absolutely critical when they are entering your home without your consent. You know, we revolted against the British because of this principle. The Fourth Amendment, the right to be let alone, is a libertarian view. Joe expressed earlier in the program that his Republican Party insisted on the fight against government overreach. Well, this memo embodies government overreach. And I want to laud the whistleblowers who came forward. The reason they came to me was that we've been conducting an investigation on the ranking member of the Perma Subcommittee on Investigation. What we've documented is literally 22 separate citizens who were pulled from their cars, physically assaulted, denied access to lawyers, detained, sometimes for days, United States citizens, before the Good killing, before Minneapolis. This pattern of lawlessness on the part of an agency authorized from the very top is absolutely abhorrent. It's un-American. And what we're going to do about it, we'll go to judges, try to get them to hold accountable ICE, but we're also going to have hearings, I hope. I've asked for them. And we need to absolutely hold accountable ICE. And we'll do it through the appropriations process, possibly by attaching conditions to the spending bills that are going to be coming to us this week.
Yeah, Senator, will you say more about that? Because these spending bills are here. There's a spending bill for ICE, DHS. Talk us through, Democrats do not control either chamber, but the numbers are so tight, there's opportunity, right?
I think there is an opportunity. Certainly there's an obligation to try to insist on conditions attached to these appropriations or spending bills. The House yesterday approved the ICE budget, the Department of Homeland Security spending bill, by a pretty narrow majority. What they'll try to do in the Senate, without getting too much into the weeds, is to put the Department of Homeland Security spending bill as a package with others to make it more difficult for us to vote against. But I'm a no vote on that spending bill unless there are conditions that require ICE to go to a judge to get a warrant, as well as other. You ought to know better. He's a fellow Yale Law School graduate. a judge approves a judicial warrant after a finding of probable cause. I have sought them as a U.S. attorney in Connecticut, as a prosecutor. I said to agents at times, in the middle of the night, we need to go for a warrant. And literally, we went to a judge's home, and he came padding down in his pajamas and slippers at the kitchen table, authorized the warrant, and we went ahead with the search or the arrest. As opposed to a judicial approval, the administrative warrant is approved by an ICE official. So there is a really distinct difference.
Yeah, key distinctions there. Eugene Robinson, the senator just acknowledged the vote's coming up. The spending bill's in the Senate soon. The contentious vote in the House yesterday. But the American people has sort of let their voices already be heard. We've seen poll after poll, including the New York Times Siena poll that we talked about earlier, broad disapproval of the way the president and his administration are carrying out these hardline immigration raids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, because they violate the Constitution and the law in so many ways. I mean, the sanctity of the home against the intrusion of the state. That is, as the senator said, a fundamental principle of our Constitution. The Fourth Amendment, it was absolutely front of mind to the founders, because that's what the British were doing, and they weren't going to have it in the United States of America. Yet it's happening. We're also seeing widespread, who knows how many arrests and detentions of citizens and non-citizens alike, based just nakedly on racial profiling. And that is not supposed to be legal. That's not what this country is supposed to be about, yet it's happening. And so eventually this will make its way through the courts, and then I'll be asking, okay, U.S. Supreme Court, do you actually believe in the Constitution that you're supposed to enforce, that you swore to uphold? But in the meantime, I'm asking that question of Congress, and we have the senator here, but where it is not just absurd, but it is tragic that there's only one party in Congress that is willing to lift a finger at this point to try to stop these violations of our fundamental rights. It's just really shocking, and it's something I can be cynical, but I never thought I would see this in America.
Go ahead, Senator.
Well, I don't want to address the cynic in the eminent columnist we just heard from. The American people are not cynical when it comes to breaking into their homes and rummaging through their bedrooms or terrifying their children or detaining them illegally. And my hope is that the courts will be a bulwark. But in the meantime, we have some tools that we can use. The spending bills are one. The Permanent Subcommittee on Investigation, where I'm the ranking member, will continue its investigation. I hope more whistleblowers will come forward. They came forward in this instance because they could trust us to keep them confidential, and they had this dynamite memo that says, in effect, we're going to disregard the Constitution. Mm-hmm. And I think the American people will continue to register their outrage. I hope they will, because that's what will convince my Republican colleagues eventually to stand up, do the right thing, grow a backbone, which is what we need.